Boy, you know what time it is.
Welcome to the Bromigos podcast.
I need it!
Hey, how are you?
This is amazing.
Let me talk to you. Welcome to another episode of the Bromigos podcast. Yeah. I wasn't expecting that. I don't know. I had everything I had written down, wanted to say, or at least in my mind that I wanted to say, and I was not expecting what the fuck. First of all, guys, this is not going to make any sense on the audio. You have to check out the YouTube for this intro. It's all I could say.
Purely for visual presentation. And I don't even have my contacts in, so I can't even see what episode we're on. I think, 57?
56.
56. Welcome to episode 56 of the Bromigos podcast. Yeah! What everybody's saying, bro, me, goes, yeah!
Or Hoochie Man, yeah! That's funny. That's a good intro, Hunter. Top notch. Top notch.
Anyways, welcome to, let me put on my actual glasses now. Welcome to an episode of the Bromigos podcast. Back at it again. Episode 56. It's the Hoochie Man holding it down as always.
And of course, your Undercover Brotha. The Mighty Whiteys are back again. Dante had to dip out last minute, and unfortunately, Mike is going through some stuff. We send our love out to him. He had a very heartfelt text message to us earlier today, and he's going to be gone for maybe a week or two, unfortunately, due to some unforeseen circumstances. So, Mike, if you're listening to this, because I know you will, we love you, buddy. Stay strong. Yeah, man, it's going to be a good episode, man. It's the Mighty Whiteys, like I said, Pale Power Hour Part 2, unseasoned chicken. Except this time, we'll add a little seasoning. Why don't we add some, sweet Baby Ray's barbecue sauce? The sugar-free version, because I'm cutting, baby.
What about the honey one? The honey barbecue or the hickory smoke or there's Chipotle barbecue.
How many fucking barbecue sauces do they have? I just know the one.
They got an array of options.
You know what? I guess so. But we're white. We don't know anything about seasoning, apparently. So we wouldn't know. Anyway, just a couple things to touch on. First of all, if you guys are here, you're new to the show, welcome. As I said, there's usually 4 of us. Unfortunately, half of us are gone for today's episode, but we encourage you to check out the previous episodes, get a better idea for the show, and also share the show to your friends if you enjoy it. Follow us on social media. I'll cover all of that in the last section of today's show. Just a quick little housekeeping thing before we get into the main topics. Michael Orr, we talked about him a couple episodes ago. I believe that was episode 49. So he has officially, or his conservatorship or conservationship, I don't know how the fuck you say it. It's finally got ended by a judge. So our boy Michael Orr, after that horrible situation that unfolded a couple months ago, he has finally been vindicated. Good for him. In addition to that, we talked about Sexyy Red on last week's episode. And god damn it, I hate social media so much. Hunter, can I start this really quick, man? Because
go for it.
We talked about Sexyy Red, and Dante was reading us some lyrics from features and songs that she did. And I was like, man, this is the type of music they're putting out. Like, this is garbage. The rhymes, I haven't even heard the songs. Just the rhymes themselves were garbage. And I'm listening to these lyrics. I'm like, I guess she's fucking, right? Wrong. She ain't fucking. She's a fucking dead fish in the bedroom, apparently, because her sex tape leaked on her Instagram story earlier this morning. Today is Thursday, the 5th, October the 5th. Her sex tape got shown to the world and was quickly deleted shortly afterwards. Allegedly, she was not the one to delete to post the sex tape. She was hacked, which I'm not sure if I believe or not, but that's a different story for a different time. But man, that I watched that sex tape, man, and I was bored. She's out here talking about sucking and fucking and bending over and taking it. The bitch couldn't even take it in missionary, for Christ's sake. Give me a fucking break. These female rappers out here lying to y'all. How do you guys just allow this?
Well, I mean, everybody lies about something, but it just makes a little more sense because I didn't say it on the last episode. I said it after we were done recording. Some of the lyrics that I made up on the fly because I didn't know where Dante was going with the lyrics, and I thought he was going to say something like "coochie pink, booty hole brown, fill me up, make my belly round," something like that. Well, a week later, it somewhat close to getting that belly round, but yeah.
I never want to hear you say those fucking words in that particular order ever again, Hunter. I had to take my fucking headset off for that, ladies and gentlemen. I'm appalled.
Right,
this is why we're not rappers. Seasoning. This is why we're podcasting.
We're coming in with seasoning. I'm not a rapper. Oh, no. The exact lyrics were coochie pink, booty hole brown, face up, for face down. God damn it. Face down. Ass
it doesn't matter because we all know she ain't doing that now anyway.
No.
She couldn't even. She looked like a dead fish in there, bro. I hate the clowner because
why does she have tattoos on her titties?
You know what? I've been seeing a lot of chicks with tattoos on their titties. And, you know, I was once known as Motorboat and Matt on another podcast. And I love titties, bro. I'm a big titty guy. And I'm disappointed. I'm a little bit disappointed in tattoos on the titties. Like, I'm not a big titty tat guy. Like, I don't like the stuff on the upper titty. I don't like the spider webs on the nipples and shit. I think that's a little freaky for me. It's a little, I don't know. Just tattoos on titties. I just don't do it for me, Chief.
You can't pull it off. Like, you can't.
Some people can, some people can't. It all depends on the girl. I mean, like, I ain't hating. It's just not for me.
Also, I don't think we talked about it. I don't think Sexyy Red is that sexy. And I was going to say that last
I think
week.
This video has pretty much summed up the fact that Sexyy Red's not that sexy after all.
No, absolutely not. If that's your cup of tea, go for it. It's not my cup of tea.
Listen, if Dante was here, he'd be flaming us for that. It's like, oh, you guys don't get pussy anyway. What do you know? But, like, listen, man, look at the video. The proof is in the pudding, man. Hey, I've been watching too much Sopranos clips on social media lately. Hey. Oh. But seriously, I feel bad for her because if she's not the one that leaked it, that's really bad, dude. I don't know who the fuck leaked it. If that's the case,
no, it's probably that she said that she loves dreadheads, and that dreadhead was like, you know what? I'm gonna record it and I'm gonna post it. Oh shit! I was intoxicated when I posted that. Oh fuck! I gotta delete it. There you go. That's it. I'm pretty sure that's what happened.
Could be.
That's what happens when you have too much fun.
Tell me about it. Speaking of having too much fun, I want to touch on this a little bit too to start. So me and Dante were hitting up the clubs again this past week in Brunswick. The vibes are off, bro. Remember last time we were there, I said I had a good time. I was feeling it. You know, the vibes are pretty, you know, for lack of better terms, they were immaculate, you know. This week, nothing. It was off. I'm not a big club goer, as you can imagine by looking at me, ladies and gentlemen, if you watch the YouTube. I'm not a big club guy. So I'm more of like a bar, hang out, get a table, we get drinks, we get food sort of person. I'm not one to be like in a tight, cramped bar, music blaring, trying to walk past dudes, trying to get the bartender's attention, shit like that. So we went to 3 different establishments. 2 of them were the same that we went to the last time, Huey's and Scarlet Pub. And then we went to another one called Queen's. And it was bad. The DJs were really shit. I will say that much. The DJs were terrible. They were playing all this techno, EDM bullshit with like good hip hop songs from like a few years ago, like the hits and stuff. They just kept adding the techno bullshit in there and they were killing the vibe. Nobody gave a fuck. When I tell you, when we were hitting up Scarlet Pub, Hunter, the DJ there played like 2 or 3 good songs in a row. It was great. Everybody's getting down. Then he started playing some techno bullshit. Everybody's like, oh, come on, man. Nobody's dancing at that point. It was terrible. It was trash. Did not enjoy it at all. The people sucked too. Maybe it's just that area and the fact that the first week we were there, it was like the first week of school over at Rutgers. My brother was with us. He was hanging out. He wasn't there with us this time around. We were with a friend of his named Colin. Cool dude. Everywhere we went, it was just, we weren't feeling it. It kind of sucked. I'm not going to lie. I was a bit let down this time around. And if Dante is listening to this, and I know he probably will, we should have hit the strip club, man. I know you said you didn't want to hit the strip club, but you should have just hit the strip club at that point, because at least we would have had some booty in our face. God damn. I would have much rather had some fucking Latina booty in my face than fucking.
I know you would have. I know.
I would have. Oh man, me and Latinas are a fucking match made in heaven, my friend. You see the look on my face right now? God damn. Anyway, but nah, dude. Even then, it was just bad. The people over there suck. They have no etiquette whatsoever when it comes to the clubs, and that just for me killed the vibe this time around. That's all I have to say about that, as far as like a hey, what the bros been up to sort of thing. But I don't know if you have anything new that you've got to want to talk about really quick, catch up with the audience.
Well, Drake is supposedly coming out with a new album at midnight for
Allegedly.
all the dogs. Yeah, for all the dogs. Apparently, it was supposed to be released a week or so ago. It got pushed back to October 6th. So
now it's going to get pushed back again because everybody's been saying this album's been going to come out for the last 3 or 4 weeks already.
He dropped a song recently. I think it was yesterday or maybe this morning. So maybe that's a sign that it's coming out tonight, or that it's due to come out soon, because that's typically what happens with artists. They'll drop a couple songs that are on the album, and then they'll drop the album a little later on.
Well, yeah, it's the singles, but like I don't know how hip hop operates, man. Hip hop operates completely different from like any other genre of music. Some people will just drop a song like a few days before the album comes out, and then the album comes out, and then you hear the song. Rock and country and all those other like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like radio type songs, they drop them like weeks, if not months in advance of the album, just to promote the album a little bit. It's really weird how, because sometimes, and this is just my perspective and subjective point of view on it, hip hop is pretty much like the Wild West. You can drop a song tomorrow without any promotion whatsoever, and people are just going to flock to it, depending on if they like the artist or not, or because social media tells them, hey, this guy's popular, go check out this song. It's something. And then like Drake released an album last year too. So it's like he's just dropping an album year after year after year, where it's like some bands that I know, they tour for like 2-3 years sometimes, depending on how big they are. And they won't release another album until 2 or 3 years after the last one comes out. It's crazy to think how hip hop artists like operate, because they're just like machines, just like pumping out content like that. And that could be a good thing or a bad thing, or it could be their label telling them, hey, you got to get more songs out, man. What the fuck are you doing? But
yeah, very true. All right, now let's get into the meats and potatoes portion of the show. So,
I mean, speaking of hip hop, we could touch on a specific murder that happened 27 years ago that they're finally trying to close.
Yeah, we sure can. Tupac. Who killed Tupac? This is the biggest question. Second biggest question among who killed, what was it, Anna Nicole Simpson. Basically, the people that O.J. Simpson killed. It's like, who killed them if it wasn't O.J.? Well, it was O.J. But
it was O.J. We all know it was O.J.
There has been a breakthrough in the Tupac case, in which, what was his name again? It was some rapper.
Dwayne Keith Davis. I forgot what his rapper name was, but that is his legal name that has been released.
Yeah, so he was arrested 27 years after the murder of Tupac Shakur. And no, this is relevant, or it still is, but it's kind of weird. When Najee Harris, Steelers running back, was going for a college visit, like UCLA trying to recruit him, apparently the head coach at the time was saying he told Najee who killed Tupac. And it's like, why would you hold that information and try to use that as a tactic?
First of all, how would he know that information to begin with?
Yeah, number one, how do you know that? Number two, why are you using it as a tactic to recruit players? Now, I don't know how true that is, but that's just the weird thing that I find from this. So, did the UCLA coach know that Dwayne Keth, or what's his name again?
Here we go with your unseasoned ass. Dwayne Keith Davis.
Dwayne Keith Davis. DKD. Better.
This is crazy, though. Like, I'm reading through this article that NBC posted. I mean, the murder happened 27 years ago now. And this has been going on, I think, for the last couple of months, even. Because they've been talking about, they've made a significant breakthrough, or they reopened the case. And we're just like, why? Like, Nobody knows who did it, so what's the point? Apparently, they finally got something. I guess DNA testing or something must have been a breakthrough in this case. And holy shit, they finally arrested somebody for being involved, or at least allegedly he was in the car of the white Cadillac that pursued Tupac and Suge Knight on that fateful evening. But yep, they got somebody. I think the other three guys are either dead or probably in jail for something else, or else they would have had some idea where they were. But that's crazy, man. And it's sad because if you ever think about, I was thinking about this earlier today for some reason. You think about all like the social justice stuff that has gone on the last couple of years, right? Could you imagine what would happen if Tupac and Biggie were still alive, touching on this stuff?
Oh God. Yeah, I don't know how that would go.
I feel like Tupac would be the same though. Like Tupac was I wouldn't say Tupac was like super fuck the police like NWA style, but he definitely had his issues with police if you go back and listen to those early albums from his work. The first two albums specifically, which was Tupacalypse Now and Strictly for My can't say it on air. Don't have the pass for that. But seriously though, those were really great like socio-political albums. And I personally, whatever his gripes for police were, I would love to have known what his thoughts were, especially during the what's his name? God, why am I blanking on his name?
We're all forgetful today.
Yeah, we're all forgetful today. The guy that got killed with the police on his neck. The guy on his neck.
Oh God.
George Floyd.
Wow,
I really forgot about that.
Don't worry, I'm forgetting too.
It's just fine.
Happens. It just happens when you get old.
Well, I mean, if we're old, then what the fuck is Mike? The motherfucker must be ancient if we're old. Goddamn.
No, we're all old.
Oh man, but no, I just thought that was interesting to talk about because I'm just glad that they're finally putting some of this shit to rest.
Well, it's not uncommon for them to look into cases that have been going on for 20 years, 30 years. They're still solving cases 50, even 60 years after the alleged crime took place.
You're right, and you know what? I remember this. It's really weird how some of these crimes get open and close and shit like that. Because, like, something. I'm going back to social justice again for some reason. Look at the Emmett Till case and how they closed that, and then like right before, like when the guy was like 90 something years old, or one of the people that killed Emmett Till, they opened the case and then arrested him when he was like fucking urinating in a catheter or some shit and on oxygen or whatever. Like, come on. Like, you could have done this years ago. Let's be fair. We all know he did it.
Yeah.
It's not like uncommon knowledge at that point if you really look into the history.
It's just the advancements over time in technology and DNA, linguistic testing, or forensic linguistics. I think that's what the term was for the Unabomber. But yeah, they do this all the time. So it's not surprising that they found a breakthrough in that case. It wouldn't surprise me, honestly, if before this decade's over, they find a breakthrough in the O.J. Simpson murder case thing. And they're like, oh shit, maybe it was actually O.J. Simpson. If they find any new advancements in technology, DNA, all that stuff, they're like, oh shit, O.J. actually did it. Come back here, O.J. We got some words for you.
Bring that ass over here, OJ. We're coming to get you, motherfucker. Oh my God. No, could you imagine if that happened though? Like, mark that right here. It is
October
1:38, October 5th, 2023.
Yep.
Hoochie Man just dropped a prediction for the end of the decade, and we still have 7 years to go.
It's the end of 2029 because then 2030 begins the 30s.
Okay, so 6 years. But either way, I think that's a good prediction. But will it happen? We'll never know. It might take 27 years, like it took Tupac for them to find a Tupac guy. But
I'll tell you what, it didn't take 27 years to determine in the Trevor Bauer, Lindsey Hill saga who was in the right and who was in the wrong. So they both had countersued each other, and the lawsuits were recently dropped. And because of that, it allowed Trevor Bauer to come out and talk about the case publicly for the first time in about 2 years. Where basically Lindsey Hill was out to, was out to frame him in order to get some money out of it, which she ultimately did not get that, and it just ruined her image. So she was texting an unknown person about who to go after next, whatever that means.
Yeah,
And
so this was not her first time, it seems, because
apparently
judging
not.
by the Trevor Bauer video, this was not the first time that she had either attempted or had done this before.
No. So she texted a unknown person. Net worth is 51 mil in regards to Trevor Bauer, and then the unknown person texts back, "Bitch, you better secure the bag." And so yeah, they hung out. They did the deed, and where
It was fucking. Yeah, I see it.
she claimed that he hit her, choked her. There was bruising all over her face, eyes, this, that, and then come to find out, the stupid bitch recorded a video of herself in Trevor Bauer's bed, and Trevor Bauer's passed out,
The
sleeping
day
on
of
the bed.
that this was allegedly
Yeah,
happened, by the way, just so we
yeah,
know.
the day of. He's there passed out on the bed with like a eye mask thing where he's like sleeping, sedated,
Mhm.
whatever. And she's over here, pans camera back to herself. She's like, ooh, ooh, ooh.
She's
Like,
making like all kinds of faces. There's a couple of smirks in there, like, "Oh, I'm about to get this motherfucker" kind of
yeah.
look.
And then she left before he woke up. Go figure.
And what proceeds to happen next is, I guess she just. How did she get the bruises though? Because her face was pretty fucked up in the photos I saw.
Makeup. It's all makeup.
Yeah, but her face was pretty swollen too. Like, you don't just get swelling on your face unless you give yourself
Self-harm.
a.
It's got to be self-harm. And
Self
it's
harm, or she gave
self-harm and
herself a.
makeup.
But it could
Because
be an allergic reaction too. Like, maybe she's allergic to something and then her face swelled up. I don't
that's
know.
just how they work.
I'm not.
That's just how they operate. And then what happened out of that is Bauer had recently signed a hefty contract with the Dodgers. He was placed on leave. Then he was suspended by MLB. He was let go from the Dodgers. Then he goes to play baseball in Japan or Korea as
I
this
think it's
is all
Japan right
going
now.
on. Japan, yeah. And now that the lawsuits have been dropped where they countersued each other, Bauer has not paid Hill or anyone a single dime. And he's got evidence that he can now share and talk about the case where he hasn't been able to do so for the last 2 years. And so it really comes down to Lindsey Hill. Like, we've seen this time and time again where women lie to try and extort athletes for money, or they make false claims where it's like, hey, this guy raped me, and it's a young upcoming athlete, or it's a guy at the top of his game, and then it derails his whole career. His whole life is shattered with just, oh, you raped her for the rest of that's all you're known for the rest of your life. When is it going to take, what's it going to take to put these women in prison behind bars for what they do? Because this is severe. He had $100-some-million contract with the Dodgers, and it's thrown out the window because she wanted to throw her hat into the mix and be like, oh, I'm going to get this guy for everything he's worth.
This is why and I don't mean to sound like an asshole when I say this. This is why when people say believe victims, I believe nobody until everything's settled, until the evidence is there and things of that nature. I know it sounds really shitty to say. It really does. I don't believe a goddamn thing. At this point, I just don't know what to say to the situation. I agree with you that it's fucked up and that people who do these false claims, men and women, not even just men and women, because men can do this too. I just don't think it's not as publicized.
It's just
clearly,
women are more believable. I
I
guess
don't know.
more susceptible to this kind of treatment.
I couldn't tell you, to be honest with you. I'm just kind of at the point where it's like, if I see a story like this, I just wait until all the investigations are taken over and I make my opinions based on that. Like, look at the Amber Heard Johnny Depp thing. You know, look at the Amber Heard Johnny Depp and all the abuse she allegedly had, which I'm sure there was abuse on both. Honestly, I think there was abuse on both sides. It's just that her abuse outweighs whatever Johnny did, which
My
on
dog got stung
paper,
by a bee.
yeah, my dog got stung by a bee.
It's like, Judge, this is irrelevant to the case. It's like, what are we talking about?
Yeah,
But
I think that case, or that whole publicized trial, really kind of put me into perspective as to like the lengths people, not just women, people will go to lie about either abuse, whether it's physical, sexual, things of that nature. Like when the Me Too movement started because of Harvey Weinstein and all his bullshit in Hollywood, I was like, you know what? I'm glad that they're finally like getting rid of some of these fucking guys, because not that I had known anything about Harvey Weinstein before, but you look at the motherfucker and he's just like, he looks like a creep, you know? And I was glad that people in Hollywood were getting their due. Like they were getting ousted for that kind of shit. Like look at what's his name?
Bill Cosby.
Bill Cosby. Bill Cosby was giving
He got
everybody
away with putting the pudding in the pudding pot for too long.
He got away with that shit for too long, Lord knows. But on the flip side of that, then there was what was it called? The Speaking Out movement. Do you remember? I don't think you just started getting into wrestling, but are you aware of what the Speaking Out movement was?
Not really.
Okay, so let me give you some backstory here. The Speaking Out movement was essentially happening in the midst of everything going on with the BLM riots. So that's why you kind of don't really know about it all that much, especially if you're not a wrestling fan either. But several wrestlers across the world got outed for sexual abuse. I think depending on the investigations that were made, whether they determined whether or not there was any abuse there. Some people, like for instance, a lot of people within WWE got accused of shit. Some of them stayed, and some of them clearly it was egregious enough where they were let go. Same thing with what was it called? Same thing with AEW, I think too, or at least in some capacity, as well as other independent promotions throughout the world. And that was just a whole big thing for several weeks. And like I said, a lot of them were true. And you look at the evidence that's being presented, and it's just like, bro, this is some bullshit that this person would even think to do this kind of stuff. It ruined people's careers, really, because half these people that have been that were outed, they haven't been seen in a prominent stage in wrestling since. And it's sad. It's not sad for them. Fuck them, because they're assholes. But it's just sad that even in industries like that, there was abuse going around. And it was a little fucking shame, to be honest. There was a whole big thing of that. But then there's also times where the quote unquote abuse is clearly false. And, you know, there was an instance for a guy in WWE that his alleged abuse accusations that he had done to his then wife at the time were false. And WWE still let the guy go because I guess they were sick of the whole thing and they didn't want to hear about it. So they just sent him away. And thankfully, the guy is thriving, has a really fine-ass girlfriend, too. Good for him, who actually still works with WWE. So Zachary Wentz is the guy I'm thinking of, if you guys have heard that story. But that's just one of those instances where it's false accusations, clear false accusations, and a guy still loses his job. But at least his career is still relatively prominent enough where he's still thriving in other bigger time companies. May not be WWE, but it's still companies that have name value to them. In the case of Trevor Bauer, it's sad. I didn't really remember this situation until you brought it up, to be honest. Yeah, I completely forgot about this whole thing. And I don't even remember having any strong opinions on it. It was just like, oh, another athlete doing some bullshit again. Here we go. I've become desensitized to everything. Sad as that sounds. I think we all
have. Also, one important thing to note about for the Bauer case, apparently it doesn't take much to get a restraining order put in place for someone. And
did she put a restraining order on him, or did he do that to her?
She tried to, but was denied by the judge back in August 2021. Apparently, the evidence that was there was insufficient for a restraining order, which apparently that's very easy to get. So,
wait a second. I remember something that he said in the video. I wish I could pull this up, but I'm not going to now because I don't remember the timestamp. He said there was only ever one hearing that took place, and I think that was the hearing that you just spoke about. There was only one legal hearing that took place, and it didn't even. He wasn't even a part of it, and
they didn't even let him explain his side of the story.
I guess they didn't need to because all the evidence that she provided was clearly insufficient.
Yeah.
So he didn't even have to defend himself because the girl kind of outed herself anyway. And apparently her legal team had been sitting on all this news or all this evidence
for
a long time.
Of course they are, because they know that what she's done is bullshit. But they're not going to say, yeah, my client here is lying out of her ass. No, they're not going to do that. They're just going to try and sweep this under the rug as slow as possible or something.
Well, I don't think they could appeal it now either because the
But
evidence is clearly not in her favor.
The audacity of this bitch.
Yeah.
And then I saw a couple days ago she was being snotty in some Morgan Wallen concert where she was basically being an asshole. But I didn't watch the whole thing because I already know she's an
What do you mean
asshole.
she was being an asshole?
So,
Could you explain that a little bit? Because I didn't see the video. You did, so.
Well, I saw a little bit of it. She was getting well, where does it say it?
This is riveting content, by the way, Hunter. Great job.
It was earlier this year. She was caught on video getting kicked out of a Morgan Wallen concert. She was screaming and cursing while another girl was telling her just to leave because I guess she was causing a scene.
Please tell me this is the one where everybody was getting their shit kicked in by the porta potties. Because I think that was a Morgan Wallen concert too. Damn.
No, that one was actually
fun
in Philly.
if that was the case.
That was in Philly, so there's that for you. She basically is like, "Oh, I'm a terrible drinker, and liquor got the best of me." It's like, no, you can't do that. You can't do that. You gotta. If you have this microscope under you in whether you're guilty or not guilty with the Bauer case, you don't do shit to to portray yourself in a negative image, because then it's just, oh, well, she clearly is a bad person. So what does this make with Trevor Bauer? And this was before the lawsuits were settled, allegedly. But all in all,
nobody knows how to shut the fuck up anymore. That's
this bitch needs to go to prison. Put the jail sound in. Put the jail sound in. Jail. That bitch needs jail. She needs decades of prison time.
There really should be a penalty for that. I don't know why they're.
Because it doesn't make sense. They lie about it and they get away with it, and it's just, oh, everyone feels sorry for the guy that they were falsely accused of doing A, B, and C. Meanwhile, the bitch goes scot-free and then does whatever the fuck she wants without any consequences.
Well, there's like a double-edged sword to this. Think about it like this. The people that lie are now hurting the people that actually have cases, because now people who are looking at these cases from the outside looking in, like me, are thinking to themselves, are they telling the truth? Now, I'm not saying that should be the case, but
it's like the Me Too movement, when there's shit that happens about celebrity and then they're like, oh, this happened 55 years ago. It's like, well, why are you coming out now when they're about to die? You know? They got all this money.
You can make the case with Cosby.
They're years away from being dead in whatever capacity, but they're just trying to make it for the outsiders looking in. They think that they're trying to make a quick buck before the guy dies.
You never know. You never know. I hope that in our lifetime we can. And I know Mike would have a good perspective on this. I wish he was here for that. But moving on. Speaking of baseball, it's the MLB Playoffs, everybody.
Oh yeah.
There's nothing more riveting than talking about baseball here on the Bromigos podcast, but
playoff baseball for that matter.
Playoff baseball for that matter. But you and Mike's Phillies are in the playoffs, and my Yankees are yeah, they're not.
What are they doing? What are they up to, Matt?
They're golfing is what they're doing. Assholes. I'll let you talk about what you need to talk about. I got a lot to say on the Yankees.
Yeah. So it's that time of the year, my favorite time of the year. Not Christmas, not even my birthday month, although that's pretty cool. It's Red October. As you can see, one is sporting the color red, and this is the new. Nope. There it is. There's the new hat for the new postseason. Red October in Philadelphia. After last season's Cinderella-esque run to the World Series, Philadelphia was known for being a passionate sports town, fan base, especially the Phillies. Like I said, before then, their last time in the postseason was 2011. And it seemed like they've always been there with how fucking exciting the crowd is. I mean, it's unreal. So they're coming back. They won the wild card against the Marlins, which I should say, all the teams in the wild card, they swept their opponents. So we're talking about the Diamondbacks, the Twins. The Twins, they hadn't won a playoff game in 2 decades. And
Yeah, because the Yankees been kicking the shit out of them for the last 20 years. How do you think I feel about that?
And they just sweep the Blue Jays out of nowhere. So it was the Phillies, the Rangers, the Twins, and the Diamondbacks. So now Philadelphia, once again, similar to last season, their run to the World Series, it's going to have to go through Atlanta. Now, this ball club for Atlanta, they've got so many good players that can hit dingers. It's unreal. Like, you got Matt Olson, who led the MLB in home runs. Second was Schwarber. They got Ronald Acuna, the NL MVP, most likely. They got Ozzie Albies. They got Austin Riley. They got Marcelo Zuna, who got a DUI, beat the shit out of his wife, but is still somehow in baseball. And
wait, how is he allowed to stay in the fucking league and Bauer got kicked out? That doesn't make any sense.
I don't know. But
Continue.
That's just the way it goes. Not to mention, they got great pitching. They got, I don't know if Max Fried is healthy enough to pitch for this go-round if they do go far. But they got Spencer Strider, and he is a strikeout machine. He'll get like 10, 11, 12 strikeouts a game. CRA is a bit but they got some pitchers that can do some damage striking out the opponent. But Philadelphia has a couple pitchers of their own. Zach Wheeler, Aaron Nola. Now, Aaron Nola has been so fucking inconsistent all year. But for some reason, last year, when he came to the postseason, he was lights out. He was excellent. And that's what happened last night in the game they clinched to move on. Zach Wheeler got a 5-year deal. It looks like a fucking bargain for what he's done for the Phillies, but they're solid. They got Ranger Walker. They got Michael Lorenzen, who isn't on the active roster for the wild card, but might be for the divisional round. Taijuan Walker, who at the beginning of the year, I hated. I thought it was a fucking stupid signing because he was on the Mets, and I hate the Mets. But it actually turned out to be okay. So who knows what the Phillies could do.
Fuck them. I agree.
The Rangers are in the postseason for the first time in a while. They got a couple of good guys. Corey Seager, if he didn't get hurt, might be the AL MVP favorite. Good batting average too. Marcus Semien. They got Adolis Garcia. They got Max Scherzer, but he's hurt. Montgomery, I think, was the pitcher for Tuesday, in which they got a trade from the Cardinals for. He played great. They could make a deep run, but they're going against Baltimore. Now, Baltimore, first time they've been in the postseason since Manny Machado was on the team. Think about how long ago that was, Matt.
Manny Machado has been on the Padres for quite some time. Since I've been in college, as a matter of fact.
We're talking about 2015, the last time the Orioles were in the postseason, and that's when they had Manny Machado. But they got so many good young guys are coming up. Some of the guys called up earlier this year, and now they're making a difference in Baltimore. Then you got the Twins, who they got Carlos Correa, they got Royce Lewis, they got some good pitching too, but no, honestly, I don't know that many people on the Twins, but they made it work this season.
They're a dark horse team is what they are.
Oh, they are.
I would argue that on the American League side, the Twins are a dark horse pick.
And then they're playing in the AL Division Series, the defending World Series champs, Houston Astros, who
fuck them.
They barely got in. Well, they were going to get in regardless, but I didn't know if it was division or wild card. They barely got in on the division over a tiebreaker with the Rangers, so that kind of fucked the Rangers over. And then the other NLDS series, you got Arizona, who beat Milwaukee. They beat Corbin Burns.
I wanted Milwaukee to win last night, too. I was like, man, fuck the Diamondbacks. The Diamondbacks are poverty. Who let them in the fucking playoffs? And then
Corbin Carroll.
Apparently so.
Corbin Carroll, Ketel Marte, Christian Walker. They got plenty of bats that can carry the Diamondbacks far. Not to mention they got possible Cy Young Award winner for the NL, Zach Gallen, on the team. He did a good job too. But they're playing the Dodgers, and the Dodgers, the pitching, it's not really that good. They got a couple guys out because of Tommy John. I think it was Dustin May. Walker Buehler is not coming back. He's still recovering from Tommy John. A couple more pitchers out with Tommy John. Then you got Julio Urias, who was arrested for domestic abuse, battery, whatever. He probably won't play baseball ever again. Like actual, not fake like Trevor Bauer. But pitching is a big issue for the Dodgers because they got Kershaw and a bunch of other guys, I can say. But they're hitting. hitting. They got Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, the top two guys in their starting lineup, and then they got Max Muncy, they got JD Martinez, they got Jason Hayward, who is almost out of the league. And then he's like, you know what? I'm going to give it one more go. Dodgers picked him up. He's on a tear. And Dodgers could do some damage. But it's really going to be interesting into who goes where, because the favorite is the Braves. Because they've got like 10 guys on the team with 20 home runs, something like that. It's so stupid. But we'll see how that goes. And who knows? Maybe next year will be the year, Matt, that the Yankees have a run at the postseason. Now, for your case, Aaron Judge was out for a good bit of the season.
Yeah, why was Aaron Judge out for a good bit? May I take over if you be so kind? Why the fuck was Aaron Judge out? First of all, they fucking kept him on the sidelines with this whole thing of like, oh, does he need surgery? Does he not need surgery? If the motherfucker needed surgery, he should have just went to go get surgery. Instead, he let himself be out for the third of the fucking year. And we were shit that entire period of time. Not to mention, the only highlight, you know what? I love Yes Network, man. Yes Network is the biggest fucking, they just like jerking the Yankees off so much. I know they're hard on them when they need to be, but it's the Yes Network. It's the Yankees Entertainment and Sports Network and all that bullshit. They'll jerk off the Yankees whenever they want. On the last game of the season, they had like the whole like post, like the end of season. Oh, thanks to the fans. Here's all the highlights of the fucking season. What fucking highlights? The only highlights worth the shit was the fucking perfect game. The perfect game was the only thing worth a damn, and even that got spoiled because the dumb cocksucker, like 2 weeks later, got kicked off the team because he was being drunk and disorderly and causing problems in the locker room, which we now know was probably, or we could probably link that to his domestic abuse that happened at some point over the last year or so. So that doesn't surprise me. So our pitching was already down a guy. Garrett Cole did his thing. Nasty Nestor could have been a little bit better. Same thing with Rondon. Rondon was very inconsistent throughout the course of the season. Other guys I'm just not a fan of. Our pitching sucks. Our bullpen sucks. Our hitters can't hit for fucking shit, especially when they have guys on base. Oh my God. The Yankees, when you have people on base, don't expect anybody to come in clutch for you. Because fuck me, they'll swing and miss at the dumbest fucking pitches in the world. Good God. Fucking makes me upset, man. And you know what really makes me upset? Is the fact that we have people like, Brian Cashman, for the love of God, please fire that motherfucker. Get him off this team as GM. I'm begging you, God, if you're out there, if you're listening, if you exist, because we know Mike doesn't think you exist and he thinks he can take you, okay? If you don't want that to happen, I implore you, make it happen so that Brian Cashman can get fired. I'm not an advocate for someone losing their job, but when someone's shit at their job, please fire them. Same thing with Aaron Boone. Oh my fucking God, Aaron Boone. I saw a report 2 or 3 days after the season ended. Aaron Boone expected to come back as Yankees manager. Fan-fucking-tastic. As if he's done anything to help the team win since he's become the manager of the fucking Yankees. What? What was it? How long has he been on the Yankees, Hunter? Could you look this up for me?
Probably a few years, I'd say.
I think it's been about 3 or 4 years. The closest chance he had was the year where we were dubbed the Savages, if you remember, because I remember that.
Isn't that last year?
That was not last year. I think that was either the year before or the year before that.
I thought last year was your best chance, because didn't you guys make the ALCS? And
I think that was it. I think that was when we made the ALCS, and of course we lost to the fucking Astros.
Got swept, by the way.
Thank you for reminding me, you son of a bitch. Thank you for thank you for jogging my memory a little bit. They didn't
win the World Series, but they were the only team in the postseason that could beat the Astros. Just saying.
Who are you talking about?
The Phillies. The Astros didn't lose it. They didn't lose a single game in the postseason until the World Series, and they lost.
You know what?
Game 1 and Game 3.
Just shut up. Just stop talking. Just stop. I don't want to hear
the facts. I love the facts. Also, I
Yeah,
want
facts
to
don't
say
care about your feelings, right? Go fuck.
a few years ago, when Joe Girardi was still manager, you could have had your next potential manager on that team, but he's on the Phillies now. And his
Who?
name is Rob Thompson.
You know what's funny?
Hmm.
You know what's really funny? Joe Girardi was the manager of the Phillies. And then who became the Phillies manager after that?
Rob Thompson.
Rob Thompson.
Yeah.
Asshole. You Phillies fans are all the same to me. I hate you
Oh,
all with
man.
a burning
But hey,
passion.
panning away from baseball real quick, if you fire the problem, then the team gets better. That happened. The Phillies showed that last year. After they fired Girardi, they won 9 straight with Thompson, like 9 or 10 straight, and then they went on the run to the World Series. So,
So you're saying the Yankees are inept at mad?
Canada. I'm paying this to football.
Oh, of
If you
course.
fire someone who is bad at their job, the team gets better. Hence why Matt Canada needs to be fired from the Steelers and his inept bullshit that he calls an offense. But I digress. Let's go back to the Yankees. Matt, floor is yours.
I said my piece. Fuck the Yankees. Fuck Aaron Boone. Fuck Brian Cashman. And fuck Hal Steinbrenner, too. Because he's as much as to blame as anyone here. Because he's the one that's not making the moves that need to be made to get the job done so that we could be better. We just paid hundreds of millions of dollars to keep Aaron Judge for 9 years on this team, which none of us thought was going to happen. We thought he was gone. Like, can we win this guy a fucking championship, please? He was supposed to be the second coming of Derek Jeter, for Christ's sake.
I mean, you got IKF.
I mean, IKF
You
is
had
really
Josh
hit.
Donaldson until he went to the Brewers, but now the Brewers are out. So
Well, I saw him strike out last night when I was at the bar, so fuck you too, Josh Donaldson. You prick. Guy was also useless as fuck for us most of the time. Who else can I call out here? You know what I will say? The one positive outside of the perfect game, Dominguez. Was it Dominguez? No, the Martian. Who's the fucking Martian? I forgot his name. Jason Dominguez? What was it?
Oh, you're talking about the rookie that came up?
Yeah, the rookie. I don't know why I forgot his name.
And then hurt himself, and now he's got Tommy John.
Well, apparently they knew he was injured, and then they still kept playing him.
Oh, well.
That's the other thing. The team that are in charge, the people that are in charge of the health of the players are also doing a shit job. So we might as well can those motherfuckers too.
They saw what Harper did. I mean, last year Harper messed up his arm, but because of the universal DH, he was still able to play, and he was still like, I want to play. And they're going, okay. And then that's what led him into sort of this hero-like role for the Phillies in their run to the World Series last year. So I guess that's maybe what they thought, because it's like, yeah, you might not be able to throw, but you can still hit. So we'll see how that goes. And then had Tommy John surgery in the offseason, and now he's back to playing somewhat of a role on the field.
Can we also get rid of the extra inning guy on second base rule already? Is this the last year that it's happening? I'm really sick of that fucking rule.
I don't know. I don't agree with that either.
Rob Manfred is a cancer to the sport of baseball. That's all I will say.
Yeah, that's true. But
he is an absolute cancer with some
the
of
pitch
his
clock
changes to the game. The pitch clock I fuck with. I do fuck with the pitch clock. It's made the game so much better.
Like the Phillies, the first wild card game with the Marlins, it started at 8, and then it ended at around 10:50-ish. And then that game was 4-1. Last night, the Phillies won 7-1. And that game ended quicker than game 1. We're talking about postseason games in about 2 hours, 30 minutes tops, close to 3 hours, which in the past, it's usually been 3 hours, 4 hours. Even last year in the World Series, the game would start at 8, and it wouldn't end till near midnight.
Sounds like a fucking WrestleMania before they switched it to 2 nights. Going back to wrestling. No, but that is crazy, though. I mean, like, I feel like I missed the cat and mouse game of it all, though. If it's one thing I'll miss, is the cat and mouse game between the pitcher and the hitter. Like the mind games that are being played to throw each other off. But I would rather have the game end quicker than, like you said, sit here until almost midnight waiting for the 9th inning to end.
Yeah.
Like, come on, dog. Like, we don't want to sit through that shit, especially if it's a West. Well, sometimes the West Coast games start a little later, right?
No, not really.
No, I might be wrong, but I feel like, well, think about it like this then. Okay, so say there's a West Coast game that's being played on TV. You know, they're playing at 10 o'clock. Do you want to sit until fucking 3 o'clock in the morning watching a game?
Depends if that's
2
my
o'clock in the morning
that
watching a
if my
game?
team's playing in that game, yeah. But if it's not my team, I'll have it on. I'll fall asleep during
Man,
it.
ain't nobody got time for that. Don't even lie to yourself. Don't even lie to yourself. You got work the next day, boy. You got to go to work.
It
You ain't
depends
gonna
on the
watch
day of the
no
week.
baseball game.
No, but what they'll do, this just happened a couple weeks ago, Thursday Night Football with the Giants and the Niners. So it started at 8:15, 8:20, but on the West Coast it starts at 5 o'clock to accommodate to the East Coast.
Well, that makes sense. But you know what? I'll say this much. I fucking hate football nowadays because of the ads and all that garbage. Like, I hate it. Like, I genuinely dislike it because it's like every 2 or 3 plays. Oh, we got to go to commercial again. Fuck you, okay? Play the game. Stop fucking doing media timeouts every couple of plays.
Well,
It's
I
lame.
hate it. I hate it personally because of my team. Now I know.
Well, the Steelers are the Steelers, but like even college football games are lasting like 4 hours. I've been going to the Rutgers games and shit because my parents got season
College,
tickets.
that's different. College, that's different because some games are just high-scoring affairs where there's nonstop action.
Yeah, but some of these games are lasting like 4 hours. They're taking a long fucking time. Like, I've been to the Rutgers game. The last Rutgers game I went to a couple weeks ago, I think it was against Temple. Game felt like a fucking eternity because like every time they would do like injury timeouts or media timeouts or all this other garbage. It was annoying. It was just annoying. It really was. But at least you're not watching commercials when you're in person. Like, you know, there's stuff to keep you entertained. The cheerleaders doing their thing, the dance team's doing their thing, the bands playing, all that. But this is why I started watching soccer though. Like, I started watching the Premier League last year, like really trying to watch it. And this is why I think soccer is probably the best sport to watch on television. It's just 90 minutes of straight play. 90 plus minutes if you include extra time for each half. And the only time you get commercials is in the halftime period. Nobody's cutting off the TV for injury. Nobody's doing any sort of, word from our sponsors. No, fuck you. Play the game. So that's why I enjoy watching soccer. Fuck everything else.
Good luck trying to watch a NASCAR race. They'll throw a commercial in every 10, 12 laps. It's like, oh, great. And we're missing the action. It's just...
But picture-in-picture exists for a reason. Like,
yeah, sometimes they cut to that. They cut to that sometimes, though, but they're not going to do that all the time.
Like, look at wrestling, for instance. Like, again, I keep mentioning wrestling, but it's been so prevalent in some of these conversations. Wrestling, certain companies have been doing picture-in-picture because they don't want to take you away from the action. Granted, when they cut the TV, they're still laying on the ground for fucking 3 minutes until they actually get back in the ring and start punching each other with the last 30 seconds of the break. But the point I'm making is at least most of the time, you're not going to miss the action when you go to commercial, depending on the company you watch.
Right.
Other sports, they don't even bother to do that. They just be like, oh, like golf does it occasionally, I think, which is cool because, you know, if you watch golf, I like watching golf. It's relaxing. And they'll show like what's going on with that. NASCAR, you said they'll do it periodically. Baseball doesn't really need to do it because they never really cut to commercial unless there's some sort of break in between, like in between innings, changing pitchers, things of that nature. So it's pretty much just, you can watch half an inning for 20, 30 minutes, depending on how good the team is doing at that point in time.
Oh, you know what? F1 has commercial free, at least in the U.S.
Okay, so I don't know. I don't watch F1, so I don't know anything about that. I know apparently F1's getting popular, which I had no idea how popular it was until I started seeing all these women on dating apps talk about it. So I'm like, oh, wow, it's popular? The fuck is that?
So it got popular because of this thing called Drive to Survive, the series on Netflix where it's like behind the scenes of F1 drivers, their personal life, and then at the track, the behind the scenes of what goes on with the driver, the team, all that stuff. It blew up. And 2021 was arguably the biggest year for F1 in a long time because you got Lewis Hamilton trying to win his 7th or 8th World Championship. And then Lewis Hamilton for Mercedes, Max Verstappen for Red Bull, trying to win his first. Those two were in. It felt like a heated rivalry between the two because they would take each other out. They'd win almost all the time. Some shit would happen to them in the middle of the races, and it came down to the last race of the season where basically the winner of the race would win the championship. And it ended in controversial fashion where they bended the rules a little bit because of Drive to Survive. They let all the lap cars go in between Hamilton and Verstappen. Verstappen had fresher tires. Hamilton didn't. It was a last lap pass on Verstappen. Went on to win the championship. A lot of controversy, but that helps with ratings for Drive to Survive. But now this season, it is literally a Red Bull masterclass where Verstappen and his teammate Sergio Perez, they've won all but one F1 race this season. So it's kind of on the downward for that because it's like it's the same guy winning every week. It's the same team. But there's still fans out there that think it's the greatest thing in the world.
Like I said, I would probably argue out of like every, say, I look at 20 dating profiles, at least 2 or 3 of them are mentioning F1 in some capacity, maybe more. So that's saying something as far as the popularity with the women goes. So I think I might as well get into F1 now for the sake of that.
Hey, if you're a Red Bull fan, what's up? What's up? You like winners. I like winners. Something we have.
You like winners. I like winners. Let's go be winners together. Hey, yeah. What it do, baby?
Let's expand from a 2-card team to a 3-card team. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, mentioned F1 because they're coming to the U.S. again in Texas, and then they're coming back a little later this year for Las Vegas. Because that's how popular F1's gotten in the U.S. alone because of Drive to Survive and Netflix. They used to have one race a year, and that was in Texas. Then last year they added a race in Miami. This year they have another
TV
race.
Deal though? Like I never even seen them on TV. They have.
They're on ESPN.
Oh, they're on ESPN. I didn't know that. All right.
ESPN, ABC. They've got commercial-free coverage, which before it was like $5 million a year for Mother's Polish, but then the popularity increased so much that the asking price was more and more. Now it's commercial-free coverage presented by Mercedes because it's of course
you still get a sponsor and tack on a sponsor to it. You still still get money off.
It's like 10 times or 12 times the amount that ESPN is getting than what they were before because that's how much it's gotten popular by.
Return on investment is a very real concept, my friend.
Yeah, they used to have one race in the U.S. Now they have 3 in Texas, Miami, and Las Vegas.
Well, like I said, looks like we're going to have to check out some F1 now. But as for us, the Mighty Whiteys are going to have to call it a show, man. We're getting a little long here. So, Hunter, do you have any closing thoughts before I go into the housekeeping?
Fuck Lindsey Hill. I hope she gets hit by an 18-wheeler and doesn't come back.
That might get us kicked off YouTube. Thank you very much for that.
You could bleep it, whatever. But I just wish Lindsey Hill a very nice step on a Lego and suffer amputation. There you go.
Good enough. Not too bad as 18-wheeler, nothing's
I actually wonder if she's going to try and go after Deshaun Watson now.
Wait, don't say his name's going to get kicked out of the stream.
Hey, the other day I got a voicemail and a missed call from a number in Cleveland, Ohio. Just saying. The voicemail wasn't shit.
Listen, he's been hearing the shit you've been talking, my friend. He's been hearing the shit. He's like, yo, Hoochie Man.
That's good. Yeah, and you know why I can say all that shit? Because you haven't beaten the Steelers, dumbass.
And on that note,
not even on the Texans, on the Browns, you can't do shit.
Let me do the housekeeping, god damn it.
Do the housekeeping, Matt. Let them know.
Thank you for checking out episode 56 of the Bromigos podcast, everybody. Hopefully our friends Dante and Mike will be back next week. And if you want to check us out on other streaming platforms for podcasts, you can find us on Apple, Spotify, Google, Good Pods, TuneIn. By the way, I've heard... I saw some news, some friends of mine, the Fuck Buddies podcast posted a story, right? And apparently for the sexuality category on the Good Pods app, which is like another podcasting app, we're apparently number 4 on that list, which is pretty fucking dope. So we have you guys to thank for that. So we appreciate it.
Hey, yeah, thanks for sharing. Get the word out there about the Bromigos. They got some interesting remarks. They got some good shit. Might be up your friend's alley, might be up your alley. Share it to your friends, your mama, your daddy, your great grandma, your great granddaddy, your cousins, your dogs, your cats, all the whole 9 yards. If you got pet iguanas, they might give it a listen. You know what? I actually want to see someone have like a little toad just staring at our computer screen and just us. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Or cats. Imagine if the cats were looking at us. Cat videos of the Bromigos podcast. That's funny as fuck. But yeah, man, we appreciate it. So if you want to also follow us on social media, we would appreciate it too. I have a poll going, by the way, on our Twitter, which is @BromigospOd. I don't know if you saw it yet. What do you think the term glizzy should be used for, Hunter? A hot dog or a Glock?
Hot dog. Of course.
60.7% of you agree with hot dog. The other 39.3%, which is the group I align with, should say it should be referred to as a Glock. That's what it originally was.
I never heard about it, glizzy as a Glock before, and then
that's because we grew up in the suburbs. Give me a break.
Well, when the term became more popular with like referring to a hot dog as a glizzy, that was after Juice WRLD died, and then he comes out with a song, and then he said, "Put a beam on a glizzy." And I'm like, what? Huh? Well, it was just a coincidence. That's all.
It's a very weird coincidence, but apparently people are in glizzy overdrive, which is the literally tell me you don't have sex without telling me that you don't have sex. Anyhow, as I continue onwards, Facebook, the Bromigos Pod, as well as the Instagram. You can follow us on both those platforms there. The TikTok account, the Bromigos Podcast. As for the YouTube, episode 55 hasn't been uploaded on there yet, but it will eventually. But I know you got, as I said last week, I know you got nothing to do on Hump Day, man. I know some of y'all ain't getting no ass. You should be checking out the Bromigos Podcast, and you should be having a laugh. But if you're having a wank, listen, you do your own thing. I ain't gonna stop you, but YouTube. Just
don't do it with us on the page. That's just weird.
Well, that's what I'm saying. They might be doing it with us on the page. I mean, I know I'm a good-looking guy and all, but I appreciate. I'm flattered, but you know, just calm down there. And of course, Full Swap Radio every Sunday, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. Please adjust it to your time zone. You can find syndicated episodes of our podcast there every single week. We will see you next week, and we hope you all have a fantastic rest of your week.
Hell yeah. Go Phils.
Fuck the Yankees. See you guys next time.
You've been listening to the Bromigos Podcast.
Fuck you, and I'll see you tomorrow.
I beat her! That's okay! She'll be back. Another